Hello and welcome to another installment of the Introduction to That. Today we are going to look at strings. Okay, so strings are basically text in either single or in double quotes. So a string is basically a series of characters surrounded by either double quotes or single quotes. Okay, so to define a string in that, we start with the keyword string and you give a variable name, say name, and I'll say John Doe and terminate it. Okay, so if I print the type of name, I say runtime type. Okay, so if I print the type of name by saying print name dot runtime type, I should get back something like string. So if you have the code runner installed, you can hit Ctrl Alt N to run your program. Okay, so we get this string. Alright, so there are some methods you can use in a string, just like any other programming language. So first of all, you are going to look at, let's talk about stripping. So string some text first, and I'm going to leave some space and say I have some space. So if I print this with say I'm just going to add some characters so that we see the space, and I'll say some text. So let me comment this out so the print statements are less. So if we run this program, you see we have some spaces here. In a real world program, you would not want to have these spaces in your program, so you have to find a way of getting rid of it. So you can use print. I'm just going to print some text dot and okay, so in a word application, you would want to remove either every space on the left or every space on the right. So to do this, you can use, I'm just going to print so we see the output. So I'll say some text dot trim left to trim everything on the left. So when I print this again, this time around we have the space, we will have only the space here, but this is gone. So if I were to say and move this up, then bring this down, duplicate and print this. So I'm printing before and after splitting, trimming the spaces around this text. Okay, so I guess I have to do some text equals so it keeps track of everything. So if I run this again, this time around the space here is no more. Then we still have space here. So we can do the same thing by saying, so instead of trim left, you say trim right. So if you run this again, now everything is gone. Okay, so if we want to just say trim everything without trimming left and right, just in a soup, and we can say, let me just say this is some text one. So I can just print this before I trim it, and I can say some text one equals some text one dot trim, and I can print this. So I'll say some text one, duplicate. So if I print this, I have some space coming from some text one, which does exactly the same thing. Okay, so that is trimming. Let's say we want to convert everything in our name, every character in our name, to either uppercase or lowercase. So uppercase or lowercase. We could say print name dot to uppercase. So when I print this, let me see. When I print this, I should get John Doe. I can do to lowercase. So we have John Doe in all uppercase and John Doe in all small letters. Right. Okay, so a while ago we were able to remove spaces around our text. What if we want to create our own space around the text? So we can just use padding. So unlike the padding in CSS where you write it separately to add space to it, you can add the padding directly to your text. So I can say name dot add left and supply some value, which is the width. So I'll say 10. And if I print this, I get some space here, which is the padding I just applied. Some space as padding. So you can print name dot add right as well, maybe 20. I print this again, though we might not see this, but it's going to be there. just like we have a space here. Alright, so this is the pattern on the right, but there's no pattern on the left here. That is this last line of code. But then this is the pattern on the left, which is this. Okay, so if you want to know all the methods available on the string, then you can just say name dot, and if you are using an IDE like Visual Studio Code, a text editor like Visual Studio Code, Android Studio, you can just scroll through to see all the methods available on a string. So you can split, you can replace range, you can replace letter, you can check if a word starts with, or you can convert it to string, but since this is already a string, we don't need to convert anything to string again. You can trim left, trim right. So you can check if it ends with something. So I can say print name dot ends with, then I'll say maybe a. So if I run this, then I'm getting a false. This is a boolean, so it's returning a boolean. Name dot ends with a is going to return a boolean because it doesn't end with a, it ends with e. However, if I do ends with maybe e and run this again, this time around I'm getting a true because indeed John Doe ends with true. So I can print name dot contains, then say do, and this would also return a true because the name contains John Doe. And I can find the index of letter or word, so I can say print name dot index of, and I'll say maybe D. So the index of D is 5, which is going to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It ignores the space, so it ignores. No, it doesn't actually ignore the space. It starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 is space and 5 being the D. So that's the index of a D. Okay, so you can go through the documentation. I'll be sure to leave a link in the description below so you can check out the methods on a string. Okay, so in our first video, we saw what I termed string interpolation, where we did let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I think I deleted it, but no problem. Let's say that we want to insert our name into some sentence, so I can say print and say my name is, and do plus and name, and do plus again, and maybe a full stop. That's if you want to join variables with strings to form a complete sentence. But this operator is the only operator you can use on a string. Though it's convenient, but you'd have to, if you have a very long text you want to display in a production app, you would have to do a lot of addition of strings, which is called string concatenation. However, there's a better way of doing this, which is called string interpolation. So what you do is you just say print, then you surround it with backticks. Then you can say my name is, then you add a $sign and print name. But you can even use just single quotes, and this works fine. So this will still point to the variable. So my bad, you can either use the double quotation or the single quotes. Okay, so you can decide to wrap this in curly braces. It's absolutely fine. But if it's just one variable you want to add, then you don't need the curly braces. So if I print this, it's going to say my name is John Doe, my name is John Doe. Exactly the same thing. Okay, so if I had, say, another string or maybe first name, say John, and then another string, maybe Doe, meaning the last name, and I want to add these two, then I would need the quotation mark. So I'll say first name, last name. Okay, so this is absolutely fine. So I'm just going to leave the first one, which is saying name, and then the last one, which is my name is. So I'm just going to say my first name is, and my last name is. Both methods work completely fine. So if I want to run this again, get my first name is John and my last name is Doe. Okay, so that is string interpolation. Okay, so as usual, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support this channel. See you in another episode.